What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video I am running a very strong team. Shadow Dragonite, Talonflame, and Vigoroth. And this team was used, I found it on Twitter, by that boy Jay, who hit #1 on the global Go Battle League leaderboards for the Jungle Cup with this team. So this team did very well. Obviously, having a double fighter in an ABA formation is incredibly strong in this meta, considering that typically we only see one counter to flyers on anyone's team. And Talonflame usually sweeps a lot of games. So, hope you guys enjoy. We have a lot of close games today, and overall this got me about 150, close to 200 rating when I did these couple of sets. So, hope you guys enjoy. Alright, get in the first one. Shadow Dragonite versus Lantern here on the lead. Now, obviously, Lantern does incredibly well against Talonflame, but this is an ABA formation team, and Dragonite can do well against Lantern, as you guys can see from the damage that I'm outputting here with the Dragon Breath fast move. So we're going to go ahead and no-shield the Surf. We're going to be able to easily survive that, and they do decide to swap out into Vigoroth, so we're going to go ahead and throw a Dragon Claw. We need to get ourselves an advantage in some way for the Vigoroth Mirror matchup, and that's going to be shield advantage. So I'm going to go ahead and swap into the Mirror now and look to see if we can maintain the switch advantage potentially. So we're going to go ahead and shield the first Body Slam. This is obviously evening up the shields now as we are in the ones, but technically now because of the even shields, I'm actually ahead in this matchup because of my energy. So Body Slam here does get the final shield from my opponent, which was really interesting because this is why it's so important to get an advantage in the Mirror. I can safely no shield this Body Slam, survive it, and throw my own in order to maintain switch advantage. So we have the 1-0 shields right now. Things are looking very, very good as the Lantern comes back in. We're going to bring in that Dragonite. We're going to go ahead and go for the Dragon Claw right here. This does an incredible amount of damage in the Great League, everyone. And this will be enough to, boom, take out the Lantern. And, well, there's an Abomasnow in the back. And you guys know how this goes. Talonflame, loving this meta as we will fast move down. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. Yeah, overall, this team was just, it was really good. Steelix on the lead. Very bad matchup for us, and we're going to go ahead and swap out into the Vigoroth right here. This is what's cool, is if Dragonite is losing, so let's say a Steelix or an Abomasnow, which are very common in this meta, on the lead, Talonflame acts as a great counter to those because of that damage. Now, we do see a Mantine swap in, so we're going to go ahead and go for Rock Slide right here, as it is super effective damage. This is hopefully, oh, we do get a shield right there, hopefully going to land so that I can do a lot of free damage there, but ultimately I'm gonna have to no shield this Aerial Ace and they do knock us out. So what we're gonna do is come in with the Shadow Dragonite and go for a pretty aggressive fast move damage combination here with the charge moves, as I really want to be able to get to a superpower against the Steelix in the back. So I'm gonna look to shield this charge move. Aerial Ace would still do a good amount of damage. And then we're going to go ahead and throw here so that I can knock out the Mantine. If they want to shield, so be it. I will farm shield and farm down, but they decide to let it go. Now, I'm close enough where I can get to a superpower right here against the Steelix. This is obviously going to be forcing the final shield or one-shotting, and then I'm going to look to go into the Talonflame right away to get ahead on energy, and now we are cooking as Incinerate is doing a ton of damage. I'm going to risk it here and call that this is not the hardest hitting move left in the game. It is going to be Breaking Swipe, which we can survive, and there's actually a Goat in the back. I was not suspecting a Goat. I was expecting maybe a fighter, potentially like Buzzwole or something like that, but a Goat will take, obviously, because now I can go for double Flame Charge right here. This is going to be one-shotting the Goat, and then we will one-shot the Steelix, and someone mentioned in the comments yesterday that a one-shot has to be full health. Okay, but we're going to be booming. Boom. See ya. The sweep right there. And this is what Talonflame does in this meta. Good game. Alright, we got Shadow Whiscash here on the lead. Pretty nice lead. They do swap into Tentacruel. So obviously looking at a good team read right here is it's probably Whiscash, Skarmory Anchor, and a Tentacruel safe swap. So I'm going to look to play to that. My decisions in this game are going to be made for that, because obviously you and I both know the Shadow Whiscash and Skarmory core is incredibly strong, and then a Tentacruel Safe Swap is great as well in this meta. So in order to maintain switch advantage, we're going to have to be landing Body Slams. If they want to take this deep into shields, that is totally fine by me, but they decide to let it go, and now I'm going to have to even up shields here in order to maintain switch advantage. But what I decide to do instead is let it go. And the reason being is if I gave up a shield right there, they might be able to poison jab me down. So I instead opt to get energy on Talonflame, because against Whiscash, we aren't taking a lot of fast move damage, right? The damage comes from Scald. And we have a 2-to-1 shield advantage, and Fly does an incredible amount right back to the Whiscash. And if it is in fact Skarmory in the back, we are cooking right now. So we're going to go ahead and shield the potential Scald as it will land. Hopefully no debuff right here, but I'm going to swap out into Dragonite and we bait out the Skarmory, which is perfect. This is going to allow me to go for a superpower here. I was hoping to try to get to 2, but we're not going to make it there in time. I don't think I would have made it to a superpower Dragon Claw. Anyways, ton of damage right there. Come in with Talonflame. I'm going to have to shield this charge move from the Skarmory because I don't want the Brave Bird to land, but we should be able to go for double double fly here. I keep wanting to say Sky Attack. Double fly against the Whiscash because they aren't at a Scald just yet. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. And once again, another Talonflame sweep. This is what I was saying at the beginning of the video. You guys will find that you're going to be sweeping teams with Talonflame. Good battle. Alright, moving to the next one. Shadow Dragonite versus Skarmory here on the lead. Now, I decide in this lead matchup to swap out right away into Vigoroth. In hindsight, maybe I could go for Superpower against the Skarmory and then swap out, but we're going to go ahead and go for Rock Slide right here, as it's going to do a decent amount of neutral damage. We get him the 50%, which is pretty good. If they're very fearful of my Vigoroth, my hope is that they're also fearful of my Talonflame, because maybe it's things weak to that. Boom! Down we go. So now I'm going to come in with Talonflame and look to load up on energy. There could obviously still be a Whiscash in the back, which would be kind of tough. And sure enough, there is. I kind of wish I came in with Dragonite now. Hindsight 2020, right? So we're going to go ahead and look to shield. I got to stop the Scald damage. My switch clock is coming back up, so I'm going to look to go for Fly here. And then I'm going to be swapping into Dragonite to try to get ahead on energy. If this is the only like really hard counter to a Talonflame, then we might be okay in the back. And I'm going to go ahead and go for an aggressive farm down. I'm also going to look to no shield right here. No. Boom! I get hit with the Blizzard, and I'm just like, oh man, that is not a good situation to be in. I was fully expecting the Mud Bomb Scald combination because they obviously need an answer to Lanturns, but we're going to find out real quick why they have Blizzard, and that is due to having a Shadow Swampert as well. So this is going to be a good game to my opponent. They caught me off guard. They were able to cleanly land a Blizzard at my near full health Shadow Dragonite. Good game. Nothing really I can do right there. Alright, moving to the next one. Dragonite on the lead versus Mantine right here. So Mantine can do pretty well, obviously, against the Talonflame and Vigoroth. It can actually do well against the Dragonite if it obviously lands an Ice Beam. Aerial Ace hurts as well. So what I want to do is be applying pressure early right here. The Dragon Claw is going to do an incredible amount. You guys are going to see that the damage with Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw from a Shadow Dragonite really starts to add up in this meta, as decide to shield the Aerial Ace and then look to go for the aggressive farm down. But I decide to swap into Vigoroth because I was so fearful of this, of a Whiscash or a Quagsire or a Swampert. This was just after the battle I just had where I lost to the Blizzard and the Swampert. So my thought process here for this one is if they're staying in with Mantine, maybe they have a ground Mud Boy in the back because that is a good counter to a Lantern, which is obviously a hard counter to Mantine. So I decided to try to bait it out, and it worked. We were able to get the Quagsire out onto the field. Now, do they have double? Are they running triple water team? Maybe. we'll kind of risk it there and let the Aqua Tail go through. I was hoping to be able to get to the next Body Slam, but I don't get there in time. Dragonite, though, can easily come in and fast move down. We have a good amount of energy, 1-to-1 shields, and Mantine is pretty low, but they actually have Guzzlord in the back. And this works out really well for us because this Dragon Claw is going to be doing super effective damage. And then I'm going to look to swap into Talonflame right here to get ahead on energy. Mantine has a good amount of energy, so I'm kind of concerned about the Water Pulse potential. So I'm going to let this Brutal Swing go through. And they do decide to swap into Mantine to go for the Wombo combo, so I will shield here. This also gives me an opportunity to aggressively farm down so that I can go for a fly against the Guzzlord, which is going to do a lot of damage, and we will be going for back-to-back. We should be able to win charge attack priority as they were in the middle of a fast move right there. So if they do have Dragon Claw, we win this charge attack priority, but they don't. They obviously need to go for another fast move, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So a good kind of decision right there. Be more concerned about the Water Pulse instead of the Brutal Swing, right? Good game. Alright, moving into the next one. Dragonite on the lead versus Charizard. Really nice matchup right here. We also have to watch out for Dragon Claw on their end, but Dragon Breath, as you guys are going to see, is just shredding. To be fair, Wing Attack is doing quite a bit of damage as well, but Shadow Dragonite, I loved my experience using it in this meta as we go ahead and see them swap into Abomasnow. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our Talonflame and go for the 3-tap farm down. And then we're going to have quite a bit of energy on the back end here. Shadow Charizard as well. Not going to be liking the fly damage that we are going to be able to put out. It's actually incredible how much damage fly does, especially in a, we decided to go for flame charge here right here though, because I have a feeling they decided to let this go. Otherwise, they wouldn't have really come in. Boom, down it goes. And it's actually going to be Shadow Quagsire in the back. So now we are free to go for fly. We still have Vigoroth. We still have our Shadow Dragonite. So what we're going to look to do is try to get ourselves shield right here. I know they're going to be going for an Aqua Tail, but I have enough energy in order to throw one more fly. So I'm going to look to shield the Talonflame and get the most use out of it as I can, because the Shadow Dragonite that I do have is very close to a charge move, so I'm going to look to go for my own Wombo combo here and go for this superpower. So we didn't even need Vigoroth in this game, which just goes to show how strong the Talonflame and Shadow Dragonite core can be in this meta. So good battle. Alright, moving into the next one. We have Shadow Dragonite on the lead versus Mantine once again. Pretty good matchup right here. We'll have to see what they decide to do. Could be another Mud Boy in the back like we've experienced before. Could be easily be a Vigoroth safe swap, which is very common. So I'm going to look to shield right here, load up on some more energy, and see what they decide to do as they are looking to stay in. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Dragon Claw. This might just be enough to knock out, but I don't think it will. So I'm going to have to farm down if they decide to let it go through. But they decided to shield, which is fine, because now I'm kind of concerned about the Whiscash in the back. So I'm going to let this go through. It is going to be Aerial Ace. We are able to survive, and then I get to the Dragon Claw in time. This is perfect. If I can get myself the 1-0 shields, we are looking very, very good. We take out the Mantine. Now we have Switch Advantage, which is great, and there's Palossand in the back. This is kind of tough. Palossand, obviously a fantastic counter to Vigoroth. I showcased it yesterday. It just does so well. But what's troublesome and what I'm worried about is whatever's in the back, if it's something else that can beat a Vigoroth. So I need to be very careful here as I go for a fly. This is going to do a lot of neutral damage against the Palossand, and they're going to have to shield, because if they don't, they're basically going to get one shot. Now we do decide to well, we didn't have the energy just yet, but I'm going to look to overload a bit right here. Shadow Ball will land. Mudshot's not going to take us out, so I'm going to overload a little bit and go for the fly. And my hope is that whatever's in the back, I can get to one charge move against. Boom, down it goes, and it's going to be a Shadow Golurk. So we are this incredibly hard counter Vigoroth team. We are able to get to the fly right here. We have to swap into Vigoroth right away because Golurk has access to Dynamic Punch. So we have to throw the Body Slam and pray this is going to be enough resisted damage to take it down, and thankfully it is. Shadow Golurk is going to go down. Good battle. All right, moving to the next one. Shadow Dragonite on the lead versus Talonflame. Obviously, really nice matchup here for us. We want to make sure we get as many Dragon Breaths through as we can, as the Incinerates are pretty easy to time when it comes to our charge move. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Dragon Claw right here. This puts so much pressure on Talonflame, especially if they're weak in the back and they decide to shield, which tells me they are extremely weak to Shadow Dragonite in the back. Obviously, could be something like a Whiscash, as we've seen many times before. So we're going to go ahead and load up and then go for a Dragon Claw right here to knock out the Talonflame and maintain switch advantage. If we get the 1-0s, fantastic, which they do decide to shield. And now we have a tough position in front of us. Do I shield or do I let it go? I'm going to decide to let it go. Flame Charge is enough to knock me out, but my thought process behind this is if there is a Mud Boy in the back, I have 1-0 shield advantage plus energy advantage. Now there's a Vigoroth right here, which is probably their best matchup, as they do obviously come in with it. I want to respect the Rock Slide, do not want to get hit by the one-shot, so we're going to go ahead and shield. Even Body Slam I'm just going to respect, and then now we're going to look to go for Fly, and then I'm going to swap into my own Vigoroth because I do have double charge moves ready to go. Or I had another Fly loaded because if it's something like a Abomasnow in the back, we can win the charge attack priority there. But Vigoroth can easily take down the Abomasnow in this matchup, as Rock Slide is going to be doing super effective damage, and Vigoroth right here is going to be taking it for me. This team has a lot of flexibility and coverage in this meta. I had a lot of fun, just a lot of great sets, climbing. It felt like free elo, to be completely honest. It makes sense if it's the #1 team in the world this week. Good game. All right, next one, we have Salazzle here on the lead, much like the Talonflame. It's going to be the Incinerate damage, so we can easily get a lot of Dragon Breaths through. Now, I'm going to respect the Poison Fang damage. Even though it's a low energy, low hitting charge move, it hits like a truck in this matchup, and we do see a Vigoroth swap in right here. So I'm going to look to go for the Dragon Claw to try to get myself even shields, and then I'm going to be swapping into my own Vigoroth. I'm a bit behind in terms of energy, but I'm ahead in terms of health, which is really nice because I don't necessarily need to win Switch in order to potentially win this game. Because if they do have a hard counter to Dragonite in the back, let's say a Steelix or a Abomasnow, Talonflame is going to be beating both the Salazzle and those that cover, right? So we're totally fine with losing this mid-game advantage. I need even shields and energy in order to potentially win this game. So I'm going to look to come in with Talonflame and get that energy because one Incinerate is a lot of free turns to get through right there. All right, let's see what decides to come in. It's going to be the Salazzle. So we are in a very good position right here. I'm going to go ahead and go for Flame Charge, as this is going to be enough to knock out. If they decide to shield, I get the aggressive farm down. They decide to shield and things are looking good. We get an Incinerate through as well, which is beautiful. And now I'm going to decide to let the Poison Fang go through, as we should be able to survive. And sure enough, there was an Abomasnow in the back. So just like I had mentioned, even if there's a hard counter to Dragonite in the back, Talonflame can take it right here. Boom! And that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving to the next one. Shadow Dragonite on the lead versus Shadow Dragonite. Here we go. We are off to the races. Dragon Breath on Dragon Breath. And it looks like mine is going to edge out with 1 HP in a dream. So I get free switch advantage, and I get a Dragon Claw through right here. Unfortunately, this is going into a Shadow Magnezone, so this isn't going to do a lot. It actually still does a lot. Vigoroth now going to come in. We're going to do as much counter damage as possible as they decide to throw the Wild Charge. So I'm going to go ahead and respect it and shield. My hope is it's something like a Abomasnow in the back, but it's not. It's going to be a Greninja, which is going to be, it's going to be good for us, right? But it also could be tough because Greninja has access to Hydro Cannon, and we have a 1-to-1 shield right here. Now, I decide to shield this charge move thinking they'd go for double Hydro Cannon, but they didn't. They baited me with a Night Slash, so that was probably my one mistake. I'm going to look to go for a Body Slam right here, and then I'm going to try to make a play. I decide to swap into Talonflame to catch the charge move and get the Incinerate through. hoping that it one-shots, but the Hydro Cannon does not, and now they get to aggressively farm me down, and unfortunately, that last Incinerate did not go through, and now this swung so hard out of my favor. The Hydro Cannon is going to land, but my Vigoroth hangs on. They swap into Magnezone, and we simultaneously KO. Now, I made a mistake right there. I made quite a few mistakes in this battle. If you guys look, we're going to go ahead and rewind it. I had the Body Slam right there, but I was tapping too fast to try to get it. So I could have potentially won if the damage didn't go through. Maybe it would have. But ultimately, good game to my opponent right there. Way to come back with the Greninja. That was a good Pokemon to have in the 2-to-1s against me. This team overall, though, shout out to that boy Jay on Twitter for sharing the team that he got all the way to top of the leaderboards with. It was a lot of fun and very, very powerful, everyone. I would highly recommend. We have another week left of the Jungle Cup, and this team can definitely net you a lot of points once you get used to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.